Manchester United are in trouble. Erik ten Hag could be in trouble. Here are 3 things I would change if I was him. The first is the midfield. The midfield is an absolute fucking joke. You have 2 people in the midfield, and I'm going to call them out, Eriksen and Casemiro, who look like they can't run. Casemiro came to Manchester United last season for a huge fee. I thought he was the answer, if I'm being completely honest. It doesn't look like it anymore. He looks like a fella who's just after coming off the beach, who's after drinking 5 pints. He cannot run. Eriksen is not a number 8. He cannot get up and down the field whatsoever. He's constantly stuck making long passes and it is not working. Manchester United are being cut through the middle every single game. This midfield has to change. The third person who I'm also going to talk about a bit later is Bruno. Bruno is playing the kind of game at the moment where every ball has to be precise, and that's not working for the midfield. The players aren't getting back enough. Last season, it worked to a degree. It worked against the lower level teams because they had a solid defence. Varane is injury prone. Martinez is still not great coming back off his injury. Shaw is out, and he looks overweight and he looks like he's not really too interested anymore. And Wan-Bissaka, as we just heard, is out for another 2 months. So that solidarity in defence is not there at the moment. The midfield has to change. Personally, I would go with a midfield of Amrabat, Meno and Bruno Fernandes. I think that would bring more dynamism to the midfield because Amrabat will close in, he'll make tackles and he'll get around a lot more than Casemiro ever could. I think Meno showed promising signs in pre-season, but again he's very raw, and to rely on him says a lot about how bad the Manchester United midfield is at the moment. Mason Mount is absolutely not a Manchester United player. I have absolutely no idea why he got the number 7 shirt. That's usually held for United legends and especially wingers. Mount, in my opinion, isn't even good enough to be at Chelsea, yet he is at Manchester United and he's injured. That just goes to show the kind of strategy that's going on behind closed doors. The midfield is a disgrace, it gets cut up in every game, and Ten Hag needs to change this pronto of Manchester United to be any bit as successful as they were last season. The second change is the captain. Bruno Fernandes is a fucking disgrace on the pitch more often than not, in my personal opinion. Bruno is either going to be the best player in the pitch and probably in the league that weekend, or he's going to be the worst. He can either have a game where he gets 2 assists, he makes balls going through the eye of a needle, he scores a goal, he's leading, he's shouting, he's getting fans up, or else he can have a game where he loses 20 passes, he's hitting rose head 4 or 5 times with shots, he's flopping about, he's diving, and he's complaining to the referee, getting a yellow card and complaining to his players. Famous example of that last season was with Sancho, when Sancho told him shut the fuck up and stop moaning. And now this is the guy telling him shut up, the guy who isn't even professional enough to have a conversation with the manager to come in. Come on. That tells me that Bruno is not ready. I think Ten Hag chose Bruno personally because he was the obvious choice. Maguire was never going to be captain this season. Okay, I'm not going to add insult to injury to Harry because he's already going through a tough time at the moment. I personally think Ten Hag should bite the bullet, and at the end of the season he should have Lisandro Martinez as captain. Yes, he's only in the club for a short time, but you can already see on the pitch he's leading by example. He's telling players where to be, especially Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka on the other side at times when he gets too far forward. He's a warrior, and I would rather have a warrior as a captain than a moaner, if I'm being honest. Bruno had a fantastic first year and a half for Manchester United, but when Ronaldo came, things went downhill very quickly. I personally believe he was trying to impress him too much. I think he was trying to play the balls to Ronaldo that he wanted, and then the team sacrificed for that. So I think Ten Hag should make Martinez the captain for next season. The third and final thing that Erik ten Hag should change is his ideology. I'll start off by saying he bought a ball-playing goalkeeper, and he's playing with players who cannot control the ball. They can't pass the ball, they can't keep the ball. Historically, Manchester United have never been a ball-playing club. They've never been the type of club to have 60-65% possession over the course of a season, particularly against the stronger teams. Fergie's ideology was always wingers who are bombing down, fullbacks who overlap, and then a clinical striker to get the ball into. And he had bastards in midfield. He had Roy Keane, he had Robbo, he had Scholes, he had players who were technically brilliant but who could also be a prick and who could break up the play. And that's the DNA of Manchester United. It's not this Pep Guardiola tiki-taka shit. That is not Manchester United. Manchester United is built on youth and speed and creativity, and I suppose just a clinical nature up front. Ruud van Nistelrooy, Wayne Rooney, going back as far as Dennis Law. That's what Manchester United are, and Ten Hag needs to realise that very soon. He's bought players who are trying to fit a mould that he can't quite get. The problem is he has more players who have thrown previous managers under the bus, going back as far as Mourinho, but particularly with Oli and with Rangnick. He has players there who do not give a shit. They'll play the game they want to play and they won't work for the team. I'm calling out Rashford particularly for that one. Rashford, I've always said, is a decent player, but no more than that. He doesn't work for the team, neither does players on the other side. Anthony doesn't work particularly well for the team, and as we saw with the midfield, they don't work for the team. United can't string 5 or 6 passes together without being closed down and without panicking. Ten Hag needs to change his mentality and go back to basics. It kills me to say it, but Oli had a system where Manchester United were a counter-attacking team. He's nowhere near as good as Ten Hag. He never will be. But at least that system was evident in Manchester United's play. You could see they were breaking with speed every time, even with someone like Dan James. The speed was there. But with Ten Hag at the moment is trying to play out from the back with this goalkeeper, who I have no problem with at the moment. Yes, he might have saved a couple of goals that went in, but they're playing a system where the defenders are not comfortable. He doesn't have a full squad to fit the system that he wants, and until he has that, I think he should revert back to counter-attacking, pressing off the back rather than pressing from the front, and they might get some success there. But in truth, there's going to be no success without the Glazers. I couldn't leave this video without talking with the Glazers. As soon as they go, the funds will be there, the structure will be back in place at the club, and I feel then Ten Hag will succeed. In the meantime, he needs to make these 3 changes to steady the ship. I don't quite feel it's a crisis at the moment, but once these changes are made, Ten Hag can bring Manchester United forward and get us steady until those joke of an owners are gone. Like, share and subscribe, guys. Thanks for listening.